Hi guys, how you doing? Well, today I'm going to talk about actually something that I usually don't talk about in these videos, and it has to do. The general idea is, or the general topic is politics. Now, the one thing I learned when I was younger was there are two things you never talk about with company, and that is religion and politics. And especially these days when politics have become so polarized. You know, there was used to be a blending of, or I should say, like for example, think about math, right? You have two sets, right? Set A and set B. And there are some elements of set A that are not in set B. So you would say that set A does not equal set B. Then you could have two sets where you have some elements in set A that are not in set B, some elements that are in set B that are not in set A, but there are elements that are common to both. And in mathematics we say A union B, because the two sets have something common to both sets. Now, that's pretty much the way things used to be. Now, it's not like that anymore. Now, everything is extreme, which is very sad, because we lost that middle ground where you can share elements, ideas, attitudes with somebody else and have different views on other things. And it's not the president's fault, it's not Trump's fault. All Trump did was expose it. That's all he did. It's been going on for some time. Now, drastic change does not happen overnight. Does not happen overnight. Most change happens gradually. Because if things changed so drastically overnight, wouldn't we as a society feel the shock of change? It's so abrupt. My God. What the hell happened? No, it doesn't work like that. Change does not happen overnight, especially drastic changes like what we have now. It can't happen overnight. Never does. It's gradual. It's all gradual. I'll give you an example of what I mean. Okay? Students. Okay? When I was in high school, we were the class of 1980. And we were sophomores. The juniors were from the class of 1979. And the seniors were from the class of 1978. Okay? Now, the class of 78 was a very studious bunch. I met quite a few of them when I was in high school. I met some seniors. And oh, the way they carried themselves. They were very serious studiers. They were smart. They were articulate. They don't party. They don't smoke. You never saw them out on the bridge smoking pot. Or smoking cigarettes for that matter. They were very smart. They were very, kind of formalized. And you can identify somebody from the class of 1978 by the way they carried themselves. There was no mistaking it. Class of 78 was very distinctive as a group. See, I am a never-ending student of sociology and psychology. And some parts of sociology mixes with psychology, and some aspects of psychology kind of bleeds over into sociology. So sociology and psychology kind of play off each other. And that too is what I said before about set A union set B, where, sociology has something very distinctive and psychology has something very distinctive from the other, but the two play off each other. Okay, that aside. Okay. Now, that was the class of 1978. What about the class of 1979? The juniors. Okay. The class of 79, and I was in class with quite a few of them, and they carried themselves a little differently than the class of 1978. The class of 79 were studious like the class of 78, but they also liked to party. There's the difference. So, class of 1980, our class, we were studious and we liked to party, but not as hard. Not that I can remember, really. Class of 1978 graduated. The next fall, we were now juniors. Class of 1978 is gone. The class of 79 is now moved up as seniors. We've now moved up as juniors. And now the class of 1981 moved in as sophomores. Now, because I failed European culture with Mr. Lord, and please, I didn't think he was Lord. I mean, that was just his name. Okay. I had to retake that class. And I retook it with the same teacher, who taught exactly the same way, okay, during the 78-79 school year. Is that right? 78, 79, 79. No. 77, I'm sorry. He taught the same way during the 1977-78 school year as he did during the 78-79 school year. Okay. He taught exactly the same. I was in his class. He taught the exact same way. But the students in that class were drastically different from each other. Drastically different. We, the class of 1980, during the 77-78 school year, we stayed in our seats. That's part of our being disciplined. That's part of our being mature. We stayed in our seats. We didn't make noise. We didn't make ruckus. We listened to Mr. Lord give his teachings. And I would say, I think I was the only one that failed. Because it was too academic. And I didn't even know that you could take a comprehensive version of it. But this is what I was given, right? So, everybody passed. Everybody but me. But that's okay. Everybody passed. Everybody was mature. The next year, during the 78-79 school year, when the class of 81 was taking that class, and I was the only student from the class of 1980 in that class. Everybody else was class of 81. And they were different. They were noisy. They were party animals. I can't even say they were party animals. They were so undisciplined. They would be making noise, making a ruckus, standing up and walking around, climbing on the desks, almost a little bit like Beto O'Rourke was doing. I mean, they were so undisciplined. So undisciplined. And it was during that school year that they introduced something on the walls, which to me I consider graffiti. But the administration, okay, the school administration had no choice but to make this change because there were students, they didn't identify the class, but I knew who they were, would go up and down the halls during class time, peeping through the windows, waving to their friends, knocking on the door, making faces, making noise. So, and I know because I sat there, and well, what was that? Oh my God. Why aren't they in class? What are they doing? You know, it says, hey, I'm trying to learn something here. Would you please go? You know. So what they did was they spray painted a big red C and an arrow in almost every hallway in that school. And I didn't understand why they did it. And so I went to the main office and I asked them, I said, there's some C's and arrows spray painted on the walls. They said, oh yes, we know about that. We did that because there have been some complaints that some students have been unrowdy and they're going up and down the hallways and disrupting classes. So now we have to add monitors, which they never did before. I says, oh my God. So now they had to schedule teachers who did not have a class that period to sit in the central staircase as hall monitors. The doors to the wings were closed, and if you had to have a pass to go in and out of those doors, you know. And like I said, that didn't happen the previous year. Nobody disrupted classes. So this was relatively new. But it was a very small change. And so the students were undisciplined. Most of them were, and we're talking about the class of 81, okay? Class 79 still partied, still studied. A lot of them still passed, okay? And, but the class of 81, they were an outrageous, out of control bunch of students, of kids. And so now the administration had to spray paint the letter C with an arrow saying this hallway is closed, what C stood for. Excuse me. And anybody, and we have monitors now, which they didn't have before, who, if you are caught in violation of the new rule, which was during class hours, class time, you are not allowed to go to the hall. And you would be caught and you would be sent to the office. If, you know, you did that and you didn't have a pass. And the C was so ugly. To me, that's graffiti. That is graffiti. Desecration to me, you know. But that's what the school had to do, so I had to live with it, even though it was an eyesore, you know. So, end of the year comes, 79, June of 79. Class of 1979 graduated. Bye, guys. Love knowing all of you. Have fun. Good luck in life. Summer happens. Summer ends. Class of 80, we're now the seniors. The class of 81, now the juniors. And now the class of 1982 comes in as sophomores. Okay. Now, was there a difference between the class of 81 and the class of 82? And the answer to that is, oh yes. Oh yes. There was a difference. There was a major difference between the class of 81 and the class of 82. Because now, real graffiti has started to appear on the walls of the building itself, on the outside. More and more, and not only that, the exit lights were vandalized. All of them, throughout the school. They just went up there and just destroyed every one of those exit lights. And in most cases, all that remained were the two bulbs, which I could definitely understand because, they're on. You break the frame, you pull the face off one of the sides, you break off the back, and you tear off the frame and you disintegrate it, and then you go for the bulb. Oh, the bulb's too hot because the bulb is on, and you can't turn that bulb off. So, through every aisle, every corridor, there were no exit lights. None. You could not see the word exit anywhere throughout that whole school. All that were there are two lone bulbs lit. That's what was left with all the exit lights throughout the entire school. So, vandalism and destruction of property, public property that did not belong to you. Okay, so these kids committed crimes. Also graffiti on the walls. That's a crime. That's defacing of public property. So, you had the class of 1981 who was disruptive and bothered the students. And then you had the next year students, the class of 1982, and they were just destruction of property, defacing of property, so they're committing crimes now. And this is 1982. Now, when I graduated in 1980, and I told my counselor, couldn't remember the title, Mr. Yacone. I'll never forget his name, Mr. Yacone. And he was a wonderful guidance counselor, And I said to Mr. Yacone before I graduated, I said, Mr. Yacone, I love this school. I love the building. I love the way it's laid out. I love the indoor-outdoor carpeting. I love the clocks. I love the panels. I love the lights. I love the way the school is structured. I'm in love with this school. I wish I could move in, But, of course, I couldn't. But that's how beautiful the school was. It was a beautiful school. Well, I said, once a year I like to visit. Is that possible? Mr. Yacone said, yes, it's very possible. All you have to do is go to the main office, tell them you're a graduate, and you just want to meet, say hello to the teachers and ask for a pass, as a visitor. And come to see me when you do. I said, cool, great. So, I graduated in 1980. So, in 1981, I came to visit. 1982, I came to visit. 1983, I came to visit. And since I wasn't there very long, I didn't really see much, any real difference. Until we got to 1987. that was a very sad year for me, 1987, because when I left after 86, he said to me, come see me first before you go to the main office. I said, okay. So when 87 came, I went straight to Mr. Yacone's office. I said, hi, Mr. Yacone. I said, and he says, oh, it's good to see you. How you doing? Oh, it's good. You know, I'm still working for my dad and so forth. He got hit with cancer, and so now I'm kind of babysitting him. And he said, I'm so sorry to hear that about your dad. And he says, what are your plans today? And I said, well, Mr. Yacone, my plans today is to visit the school, say hello to the teachers, walk around, have lunch at the cafeteria again. He nodded. He said, I thought that's why you're here. Jim, I have bad news. You're going to have to leave. I said, why? All I'm doing is visiting. He said, I know. I know. You cannot visit. You cannot visit anymore. I said, oh my God, what happened? He said, a lot has happened since your last visit last year. There were a lot of violence in the cafeterias. Kids were sneaking in guns to the windows. There have been shady characters up and down the halls. And there have been police raids on the lockers. And with drug-smelling dogs, you know, and we had to break open some lockers. And we recovered tons and tons of marijuana and cocaine and heroin. There was no crack or meth at that time. There was no one's heard of meth or crack in 1987 now. But he said, yeah, and they had to arrest some students for possession. And there's been a lot of violence. There's been a lot of knife fights in the halls, in the stairwells. And so now they have upped the security in this school, and they have discontinued the visitor pass option. So they don't give passes. There's no visitor passes anymore because they don't know who you are. And the security now is shoot first and ask questions later kind of thing. So I have bad news. I know you'd love to visit the school. I know you'd want to say hello to the teachers. But I'm afraid you better leave. You better leave before one of the security guys stops you and arrests you for trespassing. Now this was 1987. Okay. And so he says, you better make a hasty retreat, my friend, before one of the security officers sees you, and they'll slap the cuffs on you for trespassing. And they will arrest you and ask questions later. You better leave. Especially since you're over 18 and you'll be tried as an adult. I said, oh my God. Oh my Lord. I knew things were getting worse while I was still here as a student. And I thought, how worse could they get? Now I know how worse things can get. So I quietly and quickly vamoosed the hell out of there. And as soon when I got outside, I says, oh great, good. Now I just got to get off the bridge. You know, got to get off the building. And I did, and I was on the sidewalk again. And I says, I'm rushing to my car. I'm out of here. You know. So as soon as I made it to my car, I almost cried. I sat there at the front seat, looked over my shoulder, at this beautiful school, and I was heartbroken. I said, if things are this bad now, I shudder to think how worse things can get. And in 1999, at Columbine, I had my answer. I said, damn it, I knew it. I just knew things were getting worse. I knew it, I could see it. It was on the walls. I said, if things are this bad in 1987, how worse can they get? And from 1999, it got worse and worse and worse and worse. So, to those who say our country is divided because President Trump is not president. So that, right overnight, polarization. Instant polarization. Boom. One day everything's fine. One day later, boom, country is divided. Polarized. One day change. No. Drastic change does not happen that quickly. I'm sorry, but I am a witness to drastic change in society. And since we're talking about the United States and how polarized this nation is, we're talking sociology, folks. This is sociology. This is pure sociology. And because sociology studies the behavior patterns of the group. Doesn't matter what group it is. Okay? This is the American group. Group of American citizens. And it has drastically divided, polarized. One being a mortal enemy of the other, while the other side only wants to make peace. But are just smacked at every turn. Smacked at every turn. We're racists, we're Nazis. I mean, we're talking very drastic changes here, folks. Very drastic changes that does not happen overnight. Now, and all because some people were not happy with the election results. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. Hey, it could have been somebody else. Still get the same treatment. Had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with the man. You know. And for the change to happen that abruptly, and no. It's been building up very, very quietly and very slowly. And Obama didn't make things easier. Hell, I was watching 24, and Dennis Haybert, who is now the spokesman for Allstate. Every time I see him, I look at him. He's President Potter, or whatever his name was on the show. I said, damn, he makes a great president. You know, so it had nothing to do with the fact that Obama was black. It had nothing to do with race. Nothing to do with race. All it had to do with was the man and his policies and his responses and how he ran the country. Because in the show 24 on Fox, I love that show. And when Dennis Haybert, the actor, he was a candidate, I think, in the first season. and his life was threatened because he was black, maybe, I don't know. Race has got nothing to do with nothing. But anyway, so, and he made a damn good president. Damn good president. So, I support Trump, not because I'm white, but because of his policies and the way he runs the country, the way he gets things done. And that's as fair as he is. Now, here's something interesting, okay? And it has to do with homosexuality, okay? I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican. And I am for same-sex relationships. Ha ha ha. But then you pipe and smoke it, right? This is where it's always black and white. Never any grays. Hey, I'm gray. I'm not white or black. I'm gray. Because the extreme right says no homosexuality. It is sacrilege or whatever terms is. Me? Hey, you're gay, you're lesbian, hey, wonderful. I support you. And when they argued about what determines marriage, right, the extreme conservatives said that the defining definition of marriage is a union between a man and a woman. I objected. I said, Marriage is the joining of two people, two adults, regardless of gender, who love each other. It doesn't matter the gender. The gender is irrelevant. Love is what's relevant. Hell, what? You're going to have a man and a woman who hate each other? And they could be married. Well, at least they're following the rule of marriage, the man and woman. So what if they don't love each other? But if it's, the definition of marriage. Marriage or relationships between two consenting adults who love each other and want to spend their lives together, regardless of gender. Regardless of gender. Gender. Not a gender. Ugh. So, and now, when I was growing up, and I'll make this brief because I'm going to be running out of time soon, I grew up thinking that Planned Parenthood was a center where they planned parenthood. Whoa, what a revelation! You Planned Parenthood at Planned Parenthood centers. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. I've never gone to one, but from what I always heard of them, I would think they have discussions, they have lecturers, they have books, they have pamphlets, they have literature on all the preventive methods. Condoms, IUDs, and the pill, right? Birth control pills. And you have them at a discount, and they're always offered. And they give you classes, and you plan, say, I want to be pregnant, but not yet. That's fine. Let's plan for your future parenthood. That's what we're here for, to plan your parenthood. So this way, you don't get pregnant before you want to be. But all I'm hearing about Planned Parenthood now is that Planned Parenthood is nothing more than abortion clinics. And liberals are so pushing. I used to be pro-choice for a long, long time. And when I spoke to somebody who had 2 or 3 abortions and what she went through, because she got pregnant before she intended to. And the way she described it, they take a vacuum. This is the way she described it. They take a vacuum and they suction you out. And you're so disruptive on your insides. And she said, I don't think my body can go through that again. Now, so many feminists. Now, here's another one. I'll get to the Planned Parenthood in a minute. Feminists came out in the late 60s and early 70s. Women's lib. And what basically the feminists' mission was to achieve a status where women and men working at the same job earn the same amount of salary. That the pay is equal. And guess what? They won! They won! The mission of feminism has been achieved. Because men and women for about 20 years, from 1975 to 1995, for 20 years, at the same time. Now, couples who work, now, mom works at this type of job, dad works at this type of job. They're different jobs, and they get different pay. Sometimes the woman earns more than the man does. Sometimes the man earns more than the woman does. And guess what? Couple's happy. Couple is happy. Couple does not care who pays more. The whole notion of the breadwinner, chauvinism as it is gone. That men and women who work at the same job earn the same amount of money. So the woman who makes a little bit more than the man does is at a job where her co-workers work at the same job earn as much as she does. And same thing with the guy. Guy's at a job where his women co-workers earn the same as he does. But with the couple together, the woman makes more than the man. And that's fine. In other couples, the man makes more than the woman. That was okay. That was fine. And I stayed that way for many years until modern feminism came around. And modern feminism said, basically, we are going to adopt male chauvinism and we're going to change the gender. Because modern feminism is male chauvinism for the woman. So there is no equality between the sexes anymore. Not anymore. Now the woman is superior to the man. The man is worthless. The man has no value. And a man who behaves like a man, they introduced this concept of toxic masculinity. Oh, please. But anyway. So modern feminism is a joke. Modern feminism is nothing more than male chauvinism. I guess you could call it female chauvinism. Or female superiority over the man. But getting back to Planned Parenthood. So they're fighting for the right to have an abortion. Hey, why don't you take that energy and make sure you don't get pregnant when you don't want to in the first place? Wow. What a revelation! To plan not to get pregnant. That's a smart idea. But nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody talks about, well, I'm not ready to get pregnant for a while, so please, can you help me make sure that I can plan for my pregnancy? You never hear that anymore. It's all about abortion, 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 abortion. It's like a broken record. Abortion, 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 abortion. Hey, stop talking about abortion and talk about preventing getting pregnant in the first place. Use a condom. Use birth control pills. An IUD. Or what, spermicide. Whatever it is. Spend the money and use it. And guess what? You won't become pregnant. Then you won't need an abortion. So, anyway, I've been hearing a lot about this lately, and I might lose some subscribers over this. And if that happens, so be it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to talk about politics in my videos, because I'm not. It's just that I've been hearing about this and responding to some idiocy for some time now, and it's just been boiling inside of me, and I just felt the need to just vent it all out. So, if you hate me, fine. If you hate me, I'm sorry. I have to be real. And I'm being real. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you, I don't know. Like I said, I'm taking an awful big risk, putting this all out there to all of you who have become subscribers to my channel and my videos, which mean the world to me. So, if I haven't lost you as a subscriber, that's wonderful, and I hope I don't. And like I said, if I do, so be it. Anyway, I promise the next videos that I'll be making will not be over political issues. I just had to get this off my chest. And like I said, hey, I could lose subscribers over this. Like I lost a few friends over this. Long-time school friends over this. And it's so sad. It is so sad. Anyway. I hope you, like I said, hope you liked what you heard. And if you didn't like what you heard, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. You can agree, you can disagree with me. And we'll just agree to disagree. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We'll just agree to disagree. And we'll still be friends. We'll still support each other. And that's the way it should be. Anyway, take care, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. And like I said, I hope you stay with me. If you don't, stay with me. But I just had to get this off my chest. Okay. My time is running out, so I better say goodbye before I run out of time here. Okay. Take care, and I'll see you soon.